Imagine trying to fit a standard two-car garage door through the front entrance of a house.
Good luck with that.
Right. But that is exactly the logistical nightmare engineers face when designing a 161-inch commercial display screen. Welcome to today's Custom Deep Dive. Today we are exploring product specs and data from HDTVSupply regarding the Draper 254206 profile plus fixed frame screen.
Yeah, and just to put that scale into perspective, a 161-inch diagonal means this thing is 79 by 140 inches. It's just massive.
It really is. So our mission today is to decode the logistics and design of these massive commercial displays so you can fully grasp the cutting edge of AV tech, without drowning in all the jargon.
Exactly.
So the most obvious question about a screen this huge is, well, how do you even get it through a door?
Right, because shipping a frame that size in one piece would make it a total structural liability during transit, let alone, impossible to maneuver into a corporate boardroom or a basement theater.
Oh, for sure. Trying to get that around a tight corner? No way.
Yeah, so the solution is shipping the entire unit, completely unassembled. It relies on this remarkably lightweight frame designed specifically to navigate tight stairs, elevators, corners, you name it.
Okay, let's unpack this. It's basically like high-end IKEA furniture for AV nerds.
I love that comparison. Yeah, pretty much.
But does shipping an unassembled fabric screen compromise its durability? Because looking at a 13-foot span of fabric, the immediate engineering hurdle is tension, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because even a fraction of an inch of slack is going to heavily distort the image. If you're building this on-site, wouldn't standard snaps or springs eventually wear out or create localized pull points?
What's fascinating here is the mechanics of how they solve that. They use this sliding hook and loop system.
Wait, really? Like Velcro?
No, not Velcro. Instead of isolated springs that stretch unevenly over time, the frame features this continuous internal track. So installers slide these internal hooks into the track, which then continuously lock into the border of the viewing surface.
Oh, I see. So the system is actively distributing the pulling force across every single millimeter of the fabric edge.
Yes, exactly.
It's essentially functioning like the tightened skin of a drum rather than, a tarp tied down just at the corners.
That's a great way to look at it. And that continuous tension is what allows the specific surface material, which they call the matte White XT1000V, to remain completely flat.
Right, the specialized vinyl.
Yeah, it's engineered to disperse light evenly, which prevents bright hot spots from a projector. Keeping it drum-tight ensures that this commercial-grade tension can properly support detailed resolutions. The specs explicitly note 1080p support here.
Which highlights that the physical fabric won't introduce microshadows or texture distortions that could, muddy a high-definition image.
Exactly.
So solving the physical access problem with an unassembled frame introduces a pretty massive architectural advantage once the screen is actually mounted. I mean, the entire display ends up sitting less than 2 inches deep against the wall.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's sleeker than most standard flat panels.
Right, and the physical footprint remains that minimal because it utilizes extruded aluminum baffles.
Extruded meaning the aluminum is forced through a shaped die to make it super rigid but really light.
You got it. These baffles wrap the edge of the screen to create a zero edge or borderless look. Or, if an installation does require a border, the frame allows for a tiny 58-inch bezel.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting to me. Is borderless just a marketing gimmick for churches and corporate training rooms, or does it serve a real functional purpose?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, removing the border creates what engineers refer to as a mullion-less display.
A mullion-less display.
Yeah, a mullion is that thick, structural, vertical bar you typically see between window panes or modular screen panels. Because the Draper Profile Plus is truly borderless, installers can place multiple screens side by side with literally zero separation.
Oh, wow. So the visual real estate becomes infinitely scalable.
Exactly.
You could stitch 3 of these together across a massive wall without any thick black grid lines breaking up the data or the video feed.
Yeah, and this adaptability means that massive visual scale doesn't require a crane to install anymore. Whether you are building a high-end home theater or outfitting a massive corporate boardroom, it just adapts to the space.
But ordering commercial-grade tech like this requires serious precision. I want to give a crucial warning to anyone listening at today's price of $3,605. The source data flags this as a special order item.
Yeah, that is a huge detail.
It's strictly non-cancelable and non-returnable. So measuring the wall space down to the millimeter is absolutely mandatory before you commit to that purchase.
Definitely measure twice. Order once.
Exactly. But speaking of the physical wall space, there's a detail in the design specs that leaves me with a lingering question. This screen includes an optional LED backlighting feature.
Right, bias lighting. It's traditionally used behind a screen to enhance perceived contrast and reduce eye strain in a dark room.
Yeah, but factor in the scale we were talking about here. You have over 140 inches of wall space emitting its own ambient light. It completely forces you to rethink room design entirely.
It really does.
I mean, are we rapidly approaching an architectural era where a glowing display screen fully replaces traditional room lighting? Something for you to mull over. When a screen takes up that much physical space, it stops being just a monitor, becomes the environment itself.